May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Okay, so if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to pause the coloring for 2 seconds. So how compelling, I feel like the dramatization was pretty compelling. I don't know what you guys thought about our actors. Did you guys enjoy our... Thank you guys so much. There were a lot of people asked to be lepers this morning. It's not something I usually ask people. So this morning, I wanted to talk a bit about that story where, remember, usually it's 10. Today it's 15. Lepers thank Jesus. God is really kind of obsessed with getting us to remember him. God over and over again, he's saying, you need to remember me, you need to thank me, you need to remember who you are. And I kind of want to focus on that word, because the Bible is written in 2 languages, neither of which are the King's English. It's Hebrew and Greek. And there's this awesome word in the Bible that means remember, and it's called anamnesis. So here's the root of that word is amnesia. Have you guys heard of amnesia? Have you guys ever seen a TV show where somebody gets amnesia? You know what I'm talking about? A lot of soap operas. People are always getting amnesia. Do you know what that? Have you ever heard that word before? Do you guys can think of a time? It's when you lose your memory. Have you seen one of those? There's always these movies where they get hit on the head usually, and they wake up and they forget who they are. Does that ring a bell? That's a classic thing. I remember it happened in Transformers. I found it really upsetting when I was about 4. It was devastating. But it happens a lot in TV shows and in movies where people get amnesia. So if that happens, what are some of the things that you guys think of? When somebody says, I've forgotten, what's the kind of stuff that you usually forget?
What do you forget?
When you get amnesia and you lose your memory. Kaylee, what do you think?
I forget nothing.
You forget nothing. You don't have amnesia, totally.
What did Dory from Nemo forget?
Oh, Dory. Yeah, Dory from Little Nemo. She kind of had a kind of amnesia.
She has.
Dory, what would Dory... Do you remember that movie? That's a fantastic movie. Your mom's like Dory? She forgets why she's gone, and why are we here? Why? I do that all the time. Why am I in the car? I don't know.
And once when we were at Cosmic,
Yeah, Cosmic.
my mommy, when it was time to leave, she said she bring down another coat.
Yeah.
And she said, "Kaylee, put on your coat," and I was like,
It's not your coat.
"It's not my coat."
That's... All right, I can work with that. Ish. So, usually, to be honest, like when I'm thinking about Dory, Dory often forgets where she's going. She forgets where she came from, right? She forgot kind of who she was. She didn't remember really. She kind of remembered Nemo, but often she forgot why, what she was doing in the middle of the ocean, right? Is she getting chased by sharks? She's like, why am I getting chased by a shark? And then she forgets that the shark is there, right? There's a lot of forgetting. Well, the word anamnesis means unamnesia. That's what that word means. It means the opposite of amnesia. So if amnesia is forgetting your story, forgetting your history, forgetting why you're doing what you're doing, or sort of what's going on in the world and what your place is in the world, anamnesis means the opposite. So what's the opposite of forgetting everything?
What's the opposite of forgetting everything?
The opposite of forgetting everything.
Say it louder.
It doesn't have to be Kaylee. Kaylee's participating a lot, but what do you get? Remembering everything. Remembering everything. So if we were to remember everything, that doesn't just mean remembering your name, right? It means remembering what?
What does it remember? What would you remember, Claudette?
Your friends, your parents, if you have pets, if they're alive. Yeah. Jesus, when it's in the words of the Last Supper, when Jesus gives us the bread and the wine, he says, when you do this, do it in memory of me. But that's the word that he's using, anamnesia. Whenever, sometimes you could even argue in the Bible, he means every single time you eat and every single time you drink, I want you to unamnesia me. That's what he's saying. Which is kind of an amazing thing to ask. It's like we're always walking around with a little tiny bit of amnesia. Right? I'm like that. I am absolutely always kind of having amnesia. I don't remember why I'm in the car. And Jesus is saying, I want you to have the opposite of amnesia. I want you, when you drink this bread and the wine, I'm thinking about Thanksgiving, on our Thanksgiving dinner, right? Because that's really a lot of what this day is about, is this great feast where we're thanking God for everything. God's saying, when you thank me for everything that you've been given, I want you to have the opposite of amnesia. And remember all the ways that God has been. I mean, look at all these beautiful leaves as they're starting to change. And how often we have amnesia about how beautiful the earth is. We have amnesia about how many people love us and how amazing that is. We have amnesia about how comfortable our beds are in the morning. I didn't remember that at all, or forget that at all, actually. But that's really what that's what Jesus is asking us over and over again. Have the opposite of amnesia whenever you have a meal, because there's so many people that don't have enough to eat. And that's one of the reasons why we're gathering food this morning, right? Is because there are so many people in this city and that live around us that don't have enough to eat and don't get to have an awesome Thanksgiving dinner. So it's so I'm kind of, the reason why we have crayons and paper is I'm kind of thinking if you guys want to start a fresh page, and we can put this up in the doors and maybe even put it on our Facebook or our website or whatever, so you can be famous. Is draw a picture of sort of remembering everything, of all the different things that you're thankful for, not just the stuff that comes to mind on the surface, but those. I'm just thinking of all the different ways that God has blessed me, and there's just so many wonderful, amazing things. And if there's adults that really want to do that, if you're that kind of person, you can come up and grab some paper and a crayon. So every single Eucharist, Jesus is asking us to have amnesia about who Jesus is, who we are, the journeys that we've been on, all the experiences that we've had, have the opposite of amnesia every time we come up to the table for Eucharist and have a feast, and especially at our feast day on Thanksgiving. Amen.